Scream 7 is the latest Scream movie to hit theaters. Do I like these scary movies? Well, I used to. Hello everybody, I'm Dan Murrell, still on the road with my somewhat impromptu studio setup to review Scream 7, which is now in theaters. Neve Campbell returns as Sidney Prescott after sitting out Scream 6 because of a reported low salary offer. The franchise paid her after the firing of new franchise star Melissa Barrera and the subsequent departures of Jenna Ortega and the directors of the previous two films. Kevin Williamson, the writer of Screams 1, 2, and 4, returns to the franchise to co-write this script and also direct the film. It's his first time in the director's chair for a Scream film. And I just want to say right up front, I understand that there are a lot of very passionate feelings about the fact that Melissa Barrera is not in this movie and about circumstances around her dismissal. This is a review of the movie itself. That's not to discount the situation around the film, but I just want to talk about my thoughts on the movie as it stands in theaters. Scream 7 finds Sidney Prescott once again trying to lead a quiet life as a small-town business owner and mom to a teenage girl named Tatum, named after Rose McGowan's character in the original Scream and played by Isabel May. But of course that piece is shattered when Ghostface returns yet again, seeking revenge, targeting Tatum and her friends, and taunting Sidney with ghosts from the past. Or are they ghosts? Courtney Cox joins the fight as reporter Gale Weathers, as she has in every Scream so far. Jasmine Savoy Brown and Mason Gooding provide some franchise continuity from the new sequels, returning as Chad and Mindy, Randy's niece and nephew, who are both somehow still alive. Joel McHale plays Sidney's husband, the local police chief, and there's a whole bunch of other new victims / potential killers, including McKenna Grace, Anna Camp, Asa German, Sam Reckner, and Celeste O'Connor. Now, I have a particular attachment to the Scream franchise because it's the first mainstream horror franchise, long-running franchise, that I feel like belongs to my generation. The first Scream movie came out when I was 13 years old, so those early formative teen years. I've now followed it across 30 years of my life, and even the subpar installments in the franchise, movies like Scream 3 that were closer to the slasher films that the first movie was parodying, I still thought had some elements that made them worth something. This is the first Scream movie that I think is completely uninspired. It has nothing new or original to say, the characters don't really pop, the meta references are obvious and cheap, and Ghostface has basically just become Jason Voorhees. He is an unstoppable force of nature who stages his kills like he's trying to win best kill at the Fangoria convention or something like that. There is a kill in this movie that is straight out of a Friday the 13th film, and it just doesn't feel right for this franchise, which is surprising because Kevin Williamson literally, along with Wes Craven, invented this franchise, and yet this movie is the first one that feels like it's trying to replicate somebody else's work. With all of the turmoil around Scream 7's development, I was actually curious to see what Kevin Williamson would produce as the director of this film, and I guess it's kind of a cruel irony that in his first time as a franchise director, he made the kind of movie that necessitated his reinvention of the slasher genre in the first place. Williamson has only directed one other movie, which is 1999's Teaching Mrs. Tingle, which had its own share of off-screen controversy, and Scream 7 feels like a film in the hands of an inexperienced director. The cinematography is flat and dull. The scenes themselves don't really have any kind of pacing or energy. Most of the performances are just kind of substandard, like the actors don't really know what tone to play every scene. This is what a director is there to do, and I did not feel a confident hand at the wheel behind this movie. Neve Campbell and Courtney Cox are probably the only ones of the main cast that are able to give their characters life consistently, probably because they've been playing these characters for 30 years. Everybody else is just kind of there. Joel McHale, I felt, was particularly miscast. I mean, he's got an energy that works very well in certain kinds of roles. This was not one of them. Isabel May has some good moments as Tatum, but the script really doesn't give her a lot to do for most of the movie, except be an angsty teen who's mad at her mom and make some stupid decisions. The third act does try to flesh her out a little bit more, but I think it's too little too late there. There have also been rumors and reports of returning characters from previous installments in the franchise, and without without giving away who they are, how many there are, I will say that all but one of them are a complete waste, one step above stunt casting, kind of an insult to the legacy that these characters have left with the franchise. There is one legacy character or returning character that has a bit more of an impact in the story. I will say that the actor who plays that character did a very good job with the material that they were given, but I did not like ultimately the explanation of how this character was brought back into the movie. If you're going to pull the trigger on bringing back a legacy character like this, go all the way. This felt like a desperate half measure.
I guess the biggest difference between this movie and the others in the franchise is that, especially with the younger characters, in previous installments, they still felt like people. You look at that first movie and everyone had distinct personalities, you knew who they were, and these are just stock slasher movie characters. Again, surprising given that Kevin Williamson was behind both the early films in this franchise and this one.
Scream movies are also murder mystery movies, so there is always the moment where the Ghostface mask or masks come off. Even in movies where I wasn't completely wowed by the identity of the killer or killers, I understood why they were doing what they were doing. The motives in this film felt completely out of left field, and they were honestly kind of hard to understand. It was overly expository, and it just felt half-baked. I don't know what the original plan for this movie was. I know that there were some last-minute rewrites because they decided to get rid of Melissa Barrera and include Sidney Prescott as the main character of the film. It didn't feel like they had enough time to actually perfect that script because it was just very flimsy and probably the most underwhelming reveal. It was both predictable by process of elimination for me as to who the killer or killers were, but at the same time, random as to why they were doing what they were doing. I'm struggling to come up with a lot of positives for this movie, to be honest. Neve Campbell's good. I mean, at least she put the effort in. I'm glad that she got a nice payday for the movie, and she delivered for what they paid for. There are a few moments that I think will hit with fans of the franchise, some applause beats that work, and there was a mother-daughter moment with Sydney and Tatum that I really enjoyed, but it came far too late in the movie to redeem the rest of it. Otherwise, overall, I would say that this movie was a big disappointment. For me, I think it is easily the weakest in the Scream franchise. Is it as bad as the worst movies in other slasher franchises? I wouldn't go that far, but it definitely fails to meet the higher standards that the Scream franchise has set for itself, and I think that a lot of the audience expects for this franchise. Maybe this was the ultimate meta move from Kevin Williamson. Maybe he decided that what he had to do with the Scream franchise was to make a slasher film that was as bad as the ones that the first Scream film was parodying or commenting on in order to provide some kind of a full circle moment. Maybe he's thinking three-dimensionally or fourth-dimensionally where we aren't. I think it's just more likely that he did not make a very good Scream film, and it was not a great time at the theater for me. Now, there are just enough moments in this movie to keep it from being a stay away rating for me. I'm gonna give it a very low grade, not a fan rating. But again, this is just by the skin of its teeth. I think that a lot of Scream fans are going to be disappointed by this film. I think a lot of horror fans are going to be disappointed. And I'm sure there are some people that are going to be just fine with it. But I definitely was not just fine with it. And this is a movie that I was very much looking forward to. Unfortunately, I don't think that it delivers. So those are my thoughts on Scream 7. What do you think? It's poised for a big weekend at the box office. Do you not really care? Are you just going to go see it anyway? Let me know down in the comments below. And as always, stay tuned right here for more movie news, reviews, box office, and more. I did a breaking news video yesterday about the acquisition between Paramount, which is the studio that releases the Scream films, and Warner Brothers Discovery and everything that's going on there. I'm working on more information about that. Of course, award season and everything else is going on. So there's a lot to stay tuned for here on the channel. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Hit the bell so you're notified when I put up a new video. Hit the thumbs up, share this video if you liked it. But most of all, thank you for watching this video. Until next time, stay safe, and I'll see you then. Bye.